This is PropertyBT, a podcast of BT correspondents.
Many of us are vested in Singapore's housing market. We are homeowners, home renters, or potential homeowners or sellers. Private housing and Housing and Development Board or HDB resale flat prices have risen strongly post-COVID pandemic. Home loan rates today are low, but economic growth may slow and job losses could rise amid disruptions in the economy. What will 2026 hold for Singapore's housing market? Welcome to PropertyBT. I'm Leslie Yee, Senior Correspondent of the Business Times. Predicting the future is invariably tricky. However, my guest has a strong pulse on the housing market. Ismail Gafoor is co-founder and executive chairman of Singapore's largest real estate agency, PropNex. Welcome, Ismail.
Thank you so much, Leslie.
Ismail, why has HDB resale flat price growth moderated? What is your outlook for the HDB resale market for 2026?
I think to start with, Leslie, it's definitely a very good news, the mere fact that the HDB prices have moderated. In fact, the property prices for the first 9 months, the HDB resale flat have risen by 2.9%. much slower than the 6.9% for the same period of the 9 months last year. But on the other hand, when we look at it, the property prices of public housing have increased by 55% in the last 5.5 years. So the key things, I think, why the public housing have moderated, it has got to do with both the supply side and the demand side. On the supply side, we have seen in the last 5 years, more than 102,000 BTO flats have been released. Particularly this year, something interesting, Leslie, we had more than 10,000 sales of balance flats. And sales of balance flats are hugely welcomed by the potential HDB buyers of a resale flat because the waiting periods are much shorter than the BTO flats. And also the fact that this year we had BTO flats in some of the very good new locations like the Mount Pleasant, the former Keppel Club, and several places near an MRT stations. This has also absorbed some of the demand from the resale flats to the BTO and the sales of balance flats. So with both things working, supply and the restrictions on the demand, I think the HDB prices have moderated. And looking at 2026 and 2027, we still have another about 35,000 BTO flats to be launched. So we expect the property prices this year likely to be about 3 to 4% increase for the HDB resale, and similarly next year to be about in the same tune.
But even this year, while price growth has moderated, more and more HDB resale flats are transacting for over 1 million Singapore dollars each. Ismail, will there be more $1 million HDB resale flat deals in 2026? And will more new records be set in the HDB resale market?
I think looking at it, Leslie, even if you look at the last many years, it has steadily climbed. I mean, if you just look at during the COVID years of 2020, there were a mere 82 properties were transacted more than $1 million. And this year, as of 12th December, it has exceeded 1,520 units of HDB properties transacting more than $1 million. So in 2026, are we expecting the numbers to even exceed the 1,005? Likely. There are more MOP units that will come on board next year in some of the good locations or the matured estate, include Alkaff Oasis in Bidadari, Sky Residence at Dawson, and that's another very popular place. Sky Oasis at Dawson's. And so overall, I think the $1 million property prices will continue to be in the increase, but we need not be alarmed. Honestly, we need not be alarmed because at the end of the day, I look at it, the percentage of such properties in comparison to the overall volume of, let's say, 28,000 units being transacted in a year, it is well within 5 to 6% or way below the 10% mark.
So, in your view, are HDB resale flats in general affordable? Do you think the government should do more to moderate HDB resale prices?
I think there are many existing mechanisms in place, like the MSR being at 30% mortgage servicing ratio. We don't expect more rate tapes as a hurdle, but what we need to be very cautious, and I think something that is working, is the supply side. And the government has deliberately committed to increase supply even at the National Day rally message as 55,000 BTO flats in 2025, 26 and 27. Supply side has shown to work such that the property prices have moderated.
At the same time, many people do aspire to live in private housing. Some big new condo launches in the second half of 2025 did exceptionally well, selling over 90% of total inventory at their launches. Ismail, what is driving the strength in the new condo market? Will private home price growth pick up pace?
Obviously, the improving sentiment hugely contributed by the easing of the interest rates. I mean, just 3 years back, we are talking about 4.5% or 4.2%. Today, we are looking at a fixed 2-year interest rate at 1.4%. So that's a huge drop. And that definitely gives a lot more motivation for people to come and look at either new launches or, for that matter, even resale private properties. As far as developers have shifted more than 10,600 units in the first 11 months of 2025. And the last couple of years, we only had about 7,000, but this year is 10,000. But this is also attributed by a good supply of new launches by developers.
Still to come, which segments of the condo market will outperform? Also, hear Ismail's reflections on a momentous 2025. That's after the break.
Lens on Singapore is now bigger and better. The same deep dive exploration of socioeconomic and geopolitical issues which impact our lives here in Singapore and the region is now a video podcast. If watching a conversation is your thing, join Clarissa Montero in monthly conversations about things that matter. Subscribe to the BT Lens On playlist in the podcast tab of the Business Times YouTube channel and start watching today. BT Lens On Singapore, now available in audio and video.
And now, back to PropertyBT, a podcast of BT correspondents.
Welcome back to PropertyBT. I'm Leslie Yee. Broadly, the condo market in Singapore is broken down into core central region or the prime districts, rest of central region or the city fringe, and outside central region or the suburbs. Ismail, will the prime districts lead the way in the condo market in 2026, or will the city fringe or suburbs shine?
This year, I must say the core central region did exceptionally well, selling almost close to 2,000 units in comparison to 2024. And that's one of the main reasons here is there were a lot of good land sites were launched, and these areas in River Valley were supported by a lot of HDB upgraders. But when I look at 2026, I think it is going to be the outside the central region. The mass market condo is what is going to do well. And the reason being, for next year, we are only expecting about 8,400 units, 20 projects to be launched based on our projection, versus this year, we had 25 projects in the tune of 11,500 units. And out of the 8,400 units, Leslie, 65% are already located in the OCR, which is the outside the central region. And there are some very good places like the Bayshore and at Tampines, and such developments will definitely be in strong demand.
Does that then mean that these launches will sell out like even hotter hotcakes in 2026, and that there'll be even more projects that will see 90 plus almost fully sold out at launch? Is this your expectation?
Leslie, to me, honestly, at launch, any developer, if he or she can sell 50%, is considered as a very good result. Developments that sell 90% have got two very strong attributes. One, its locations But the second most contributing factor is the price. So what we are not certain here is this: what will be the pricing like next year? If the price is right, I will not be surprised, because when I'm looking at some of these launches that are expected, we have got like at Tengah Garden Avenue and Chencharu Close, Bayshore Road, and even in CCR we have the Dunand Road. So obviously we are expecting to have a very strong pickup rate for next year.
Ismail, you yourself are a landed homeowner. Household sizes are generally shrinking, yet demand for landed homes appears resilient. Ismail, what is the state of play and the outlook for the landed property market?
Leslie, I always say this: landed is the gold standard of investment among all property classes in Singapore. I mean, obviously, we all know the quantum is on the higher side. But why landed? Landed tend to have a preservations of its value, mainly due to its land scarce, and as well as, by and large, most of it are freehold, but we still have got 99-year leasehold landed properties. In fact, for this year, for the first 9 months, landed property price index has outperformed the overall price index of private property. For the first 9 months, we have a 4% growth. And broadly speaking, I think the landed properties will continue to do well, especially the inter-terrace houses, because they are on a lower budget. And what is it that really encouraging people again is the interest rates. When interest rates are lower, especially one is able to take a bigger loan based on the current TDSR regime, and that's why landed property has always been favored. Then I know the other class is the GCB. The good class bungalow has always been in the limelight, sometimes even hitting the front pages of the media.
Yes.
Yeah? But I must say, these are still far few. This year, for the first 11 months, we have 25 transactions. But I must say there's some bright spots because the economy is generally doing well. So broadly speaking, I think the fundamentals for landed property is still good. It is optimistic. I think we will see a good year in 2026 in terms of volume and price.
Ismail, 2025 has been a momentous year for you personally and for PropNex. PropNex marked turning 25. The business has certainly come a long way. Ismail, you moved from Chief Executive Officer to becoming Executive Chairman. A self-enrichment book titled I Am Not Good Enough was launched. The book reflects your life journey of overcoming adversity, building a purpose-driven organization, and the values that shape your leadership. Ismail, can you share your reflections on what has been a momentous year for PropNex and for you personally?
Thank you so much for this question, Leslie. I feel so blessed that 25 years has just passed and I handed over the baton to Calvin Fong, the current CEO. I think what is the thing that really marked momentous year for me here is this: the culture that we have created in the company. It is about doing with the right integrity and giving. And as long as PropNex continue to grow, our mission is to take care of the people with us and the people and the community who have supported us. And why I wrote the book as title, I'm Not Good Enough, Leslie, my younger days, I had this belief that I'm not good enough when I'm thrown into a group of people who seems to be much well endowed in terms of knowledge. But soon I realized my strength. We don't need to be the top in the class. We don't need to be the top in any arena. But as long as you believe that I'm good enough and give your best, every day we improve. My desire here is this: everybody must excel to the very best that we could, believing that we are good enough.
Thank you, Ismail, for generously sharing your thoughts with us today, and I wish you a great 2026.
Truly, thank you so much for all the opportunity.
That's it for PropertyBT this time. Happy property hunting. That's a wrap for BT Correspondence this year. We will be back in January with an all-new episode on markets. If you have any thoughts or questions about the show, email us at btpodcasts@sph.com.sg. I'm Leslie Yee. As always, thank you for listening. Happy holidays, everyone, and see you in the new year.
This is a podcast by the Business Times. Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts. or wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is meant to provide general information only. SPH Media accepts no liability for loss arising from any reliance on the podcast or use of third parties' products and services. Please consult professional advisors for independent advice.